Good evening, everyone. My name is Files. I am joined by my good friend Clearmouse. Clearmouse, how's it going? Are you ready for some insane randomizer action?
I am so ready for this, Files. Great to hear you on the mic once again. We have a really nice matchup here for you guys tonight. We have Adirondackrick representing the Bomb Squad and Furaime representing the Komodo Hypers for week 2 of a very open defeat Ganon seed.
Yeah, you might say open defeat Ganon snooze fest, but I say awesome because this is what Rando is all about. It's you got yourself execution and you got yourself routing, and it's just gonna be some good stuff to watch. I'm pretty excited. And this match in particular, Rick is a solid player, as is Furaime, so I think we're gonna see a pretty good show here.
Yeah, and really, an open defeat Ganon seed is almost kind of a throwback. It's like a it's like a very classic mode, right? This is very accessible, and you kind of get to pick between where you end up starting, Link's House or Sanctuary. You have a lot of open choices to you.
They should name the mode after that.
Yeah. Well, at least open makes more sense, right? Because whenever we say something like, "Oh, this is somewhat standard," standard actually has a contextual meaning. Like it's actually like a mode, as opposed to you wanted to say it's like a normal thing.
Yeah,
so hopefully we'll get some renaming in the future.
Like casual or ambrosia makes like 0 sense.
Yeah.
All right, so the runners did mostly start on time, so we will. They should be getting rocking. I'd say about the next 10 to 20 seconds here, hopefully.
Yeah. Anything you want to see out of these runners, Files, for this race?
I just want to see. I mean, I just want to see cool plays. Like the one-on-one format is definitely different. Like if you're used to playing on the ladder, for example, you're a bit used to this. But as opposed to like the larger group races of the past, 1v1, you definitely, especially if you know your opponent ahead of time, you can kind of study their tendencies. Like if you're really hardcore, you can just see what does this person do? Do they like to skip this? Do they always skip left side swamp? Do they not? What's their opening route? Do they, how likely are they to put off, South Shore? Are they a filthy uncle router? all of these things.
We're not going to see any of those. Yeah, of course. I certainly want this to be a relatively fast seed. I am certainly hoping for boots very early on. Boots and sword, of course.
Yes, well, the boots are always nice early, but in terms of execution, like it really lets you show off, getting your dash lines right. And already we've got route divergence. Adirondackrick considering saving and quitting going to Sank and says, nah.
Yeah, and so far it looks like, it's 20 rupees out of Link's House and 3 bombs out of Sank.
Green-headed desert I saw, looks like. The other 2 appear to be crystals.
Okay, oh, that's good. I mean, 2 crystals in Light World certainly going to be hopefully faster than no crystals in Light World.
Rick going straight for Uncle. Let's see, his tree pull doesn't really get him much. That's why he brought the sign up. Gotta kill an enemy before that tree pull will get you anything.
Yeah, early resource farming for these guys are certainly going to be very helpful. Looks like Furaime is actually going to skip the lumberjack check for the time being. Doesn't have boots. It's going to be a little bit longer trek up there.
Yeah, you'll see a lot of people in a plain open where there's no starting boots. You'll see people include the lumberjack check in when they do like bonk rocks, like west of Sanctuary. Some people will check it right away though. It just depends really.
Yeah, early lamp and the drop down. That's certainly going to be very convenient for our runners, and of course they also have a really nice fire source.
Yeah, Lost Woods, really nice early here. Like the lamp, like you mentioned, but also 300 rupees. You got to bring 50 rupees in with you to Kakariko to guarantee the 100 for the bottle vendor, because you get another 50 in the well and back of Blind's Hut. So you're never sad to see 300 bucks early. You could even buy more bombs if you really need to. So
yeah, given that they don't really have a weapon yet so far, on their way out to Kakariko, like I can certainly see buying bombs before heading out to say South Shore.
Rick is doing I like this route because it might feel a little slower, but it's a very high resource route. Like you're checking tree pulls, you're checking bush crabs, like you're really trying to maximize everything before you get into Kakariko, so you're not lacking like money or rupees. And speaking of Kakariko, Blind's Hut, a veritable bonanza of swords and moon pearls.
Yeah, there are 4 swords in the game. I think, to my recollection, there's only 1 moon pearl. I guess we can only be one wizard, huh?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
The
in addition...
by the way, the most delicious looking of items. I'm just throwing that out there. If you had to eat one inventory item, what would it be, Clear Mouse? I would have to say Moon Pearl. It looks delicious.
Inventory item, huh? You know, initially I was first thinking of a Triforce piece, but that's not really an inventory item unless we're playing Triforce Hunt.
This stream brought to you by Doritos.
You know,
right, so,
but I was gonna say maybe how about a mushroom? That'd probably be the most tasty.
Yeah,
right?
that's the only actual food, right? Like the only, I mean, I guess assuming those flippers are actual Zora flippers, you could argue. I mean, that's cannibalism though. That's Zora cannibalism. We don't support that here. What we do support is all this delicious Kakariko items.
Oh yeah, I mean, so Furaime ended up finding 300 rupees in the and I think also in the backup blind slot. So he has Zora money, he has bomb money, it's bottle mender money, which I think just ended up being 3 more bombs. He is pretty much set for most of what he wants to do with the seed.
Yeah, we talked about it a little bit, but the Rick doing kind of like the high like potential resource for any Kakariko route can definitely pay off in times where you don't get what you need, like before entering there. But Furaime basically got what he needed without having to do a whole lot of extra routing.
Oh my gosh, dude! Look at that bottle payoff. Yeah. So yeah, they got a sword from Blind Spot, and they have boots off of Sick Kid. This is playable game under the 4-minute mark for both these runners, or at least very close to the 4-minute mark for Brick.
100% footwear already. It's sub 4 minutes. We got the flippers and the boots. I like it. But yeah, going back to what I was saying, Furaime definitely is doing well without having to do the kind of the extra checking that Rick opted for. One's not necessarily better or worse. It's just you kind of pad your bets with doing a higher resource start. Ether on library.
Yeah, of course, you know, Rick right now has Lumberjack knowledge that Furaime certainly right now does not. Like, he knows the King of Burden is there, so most likely that will not require Aga 1. Furaime still needs to kind of go up there to verify that for himself.
I mean, at some
Almost
point...
dashing out of Link's house there without actually checking the chest.
Does he get spin speed is the real question, though.
Oh,
yeah, we will see Furaime will likely at some point check, save and quit into Sanctuary and check Bonk Rocks. Perhaps he's waiting for gloves so we could do a Death Mountain trip there. He will lose some of that time, back to Rick when he has to check Lumberjack. So this opening, the first 15 minutes or so, depending on the seed, is kind of a lot of back and forth, really. Just kind of depends on where the items were and where you choose to route. Which is why like a 1v1 open is so interesting, because there's just a lot of variation in the very beginning of the seed.
All right,
we got a cape, a lantern, and a sword. You know what that means, Clear Mouse?
We might be paying our wizard friend a visit there. Furaime also picked up the Cane of Samaria from Bidding Moldrum Cave.
Yeah, that's always nice to have.
I'm always happy to see that cane before I have to go to Skull Woods.
Yes, or Ice Palace.
Or Ice Palace.
Or Small Palace.
or really any dungeon at this point.
It's the cheatiest item. Actually, I take back my earlier answer. If I had to eat one item, it would be Cane of Samaria, because
that sounds so painful.
It looks like a pixie stick, right? I bet it's made of sugar. And second of all, there's a lot of glitches, so get wrecked.
It does sparkle.
All right, let's see. Ice Rod Cave is nothing exciting. Furaime's got flippers. Is he gonna do the water walk setup just for speed? He is.
Yeah, this is also, I think, pretty common, especially with the Zora money. You can set up a water walk here with boots. You can be able to meet these sword checks, which are completely logic, much faster. Or flipper checks, rather.
As you can see, he dashed around the pit in Ice Rod Cave, setting up a water walk state, so you can dash across this water. Saves you a lot of time.
Yeah, we're actually seeing like side-by-side comparison here between how fast it's gonna get Rick to check Hobo versus Furaime.
Yep, I mean, they did approach this section from different angles, so I mean, Rick could do something crazy like just put off Ice Rod Cave or something, and it won't cost him anything in this particular scene. And they're both holding aloft the 20 rupees they stole from the poor hobo at the same time.
You would think that the hobo, that's like probably what his life savings. Hobo should have like 1 rupee, right? Or maybe 5.
Well, I mean, it depends. you know, because it's one single currency of 20, I assuming he like fished it up at some point, right? Like it was on the, like if he had handed you 20 singles, right, then you'd be
Oh
going
yeah,
somewhere
no,
else.
that's definitely true. Man, 20 singles. Can you imagine how much of a time sink that would be to get like 20 individual items held up one by one? Oh.
I would put off that check, Clear Mouse. That would be something done later. Yeah, the routing is definitely synced up for these guys, and there's the flippers locked glove.
Yeah, in case you needed any more Zora money, there is 300 more there. I think that's 3 out of our 4 300 rupee coins already.
Yeah, there's still a lot of checks now to consider before you would want to like even start thinking about agging him. But it's definitely something that's going to be in the back of these runners' minds as they're doing their routing. Now, Furaime, I believe, has not done escape or uncle or escape yet, so I suspect he'll probably just save all that for last in case he does end up having to do, you know, agging him. We'll just have to see.
Yeah, and especially, you know, as you said, there is so much more that's open to them right now in the world. There's probably even more of a reason for Furaime to kind of put off Hyrule Castle, because if he kind of figures out he needs to Aggo, as I take everything back I said, and he's gonna go straight to the castle.
Well, I mean, we've got stuff like has either runner been to like the Eastern Palace area yet?
No, not so far. Eastern is a crystal, so I can certainly understand some hesitation for both these runners because, you know, they don't have the bow. Meanwhile, Rick is here giving in the dam, gonna give us a couple more checks, but I believe Furaime skipped.
Yeah, I'd be curious to see if he's going to consider doing like the Agina check since he's over here. You'll see some people trying to include that in when they have boots and they're here. He does have a lot of other stuff to do, so we'll have to see.
Yeah, I mean, I can certainly understand if they want to kind of head over to Sahashla just to check the 3 items. You know, having boost makes the trip there certainly much faster.
Yeah, we'll have to see. I mean, I'm very curious to see what's in the bottom of Escape, and I'm also curious to see what's in either Sashula's garage or Eastern Palace.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and yeah, I certainly like the play of coming into the back of Escape, or sorry, not the back of Escape, Hyrule Castle pretty early rather than later. Yeah. For I'm still on 4 hearts, green mail, and with no mirror, it's much nicer to death warp out of here.
Rick busting out Ether strats for Mini Moldorm Cave. An underrated strat. I really like it. When you don't have like hook shot and you've got fighter sword, and sometimes Ether Medallion is the fastest like animation of the 3, and it one shots all the Mini Moldorms. So like if you just commit to that, like you walk in there and immediately activate it, odds are pretty good you're going to be saving time over a traditional clear of that area. So.
Yeah, when we say traditional, we also have to kind of hope that the Mini Moldorm RNG kind of cooperates with you. Right? I mean, certainly, you know, if they do, exactly. It probably could be faster, but just in terms of reduced variance, you know, I definitely approve Ether as a strat.
I guess you could say either one is viable, Clear Mouse.
Oh my gosh. You know, as soon as I stopped that, I was like, I think there's a pun coming from Bios here.
I just set it up and I was like, I'm just going to wait till she gets done making her very excellent point, and now it's done.
I very much, you know,
wow, that swag Kata Samaria hit, that was disgusting. And then he drops a bomb, trying to kill himself. Yeah, there you go. Oh no, he's leaving. Interesting.
So he has those gloves. Potentially, I was going to think about, yeah, if he wants to make a quick check to the back of Escape, and if there is either no map or small key here, then he's
mirror and small
Speaking
key.
Of which.
All right, so that mirror, along with the glove and the lantern, does put Tower of Hera in logic. So I suspect, I see both of these runners are going to be finding this pretty quickly. There's been a lot of convergence between these 2 runners and their routes, just coincidentally at the beginning of the seed. It's kind of fun to see.
Yeah, I'm certainly taking a detour, I guess, or like a plan B into a digital death warp, and he really gets paid off here for having the mirror.
Oh yeah, well when you have the gloves, there's a 0 risk reason, right? Like he was probably item counting, saw that map, and was like, you know what? What if the, you know, even if the small key is in the Dark Cross chest, you know, like I'm still gonna have to go in the back, so.
All right, Rick, beating Furaime to the Dark Cross chest, just find 10 arrows from here. Looks like Rick heard you from 10 minutes ago and probably looks like he's going to do bomb practice and maybe head up to Death Mountain.
Yep, and you know, like we previously mentioned, if Furaime follows suit here, he will have to detour that lumberjack check. So this is kind of like what I was talking about. You're just gonna see, you know, different choices costing you various amounts of time. So at least I would assume that Furaime will do lumberjack check now. If you don't do it now, you're gonna have a really hard time routing it in. I guess with Mirror you could do it with like a bumper ledge check later in the game, but.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean, I certainly would understand if he does it now, considering if he knows he has to beat Aga, like he might do it sooner rather than later. And plus, this is pretty fast check, right? Assuming these cucumbers.
Yeah, it's about as fast as you're gonna get it here, because if you have to if you try to save it for like a Dark World later with mirror access, like you've got 2 mirror transitions, it's just not quite as fast. All right, let's see what the old man's got. I assume we're about to receive some Werther's Originals and a really well thought out handwritten birthday card. Nope, it's 10 euros.
Yeah, that's those are less tastier than Werther's Originals.
They are.
Pointier too.
Less likely to melt in your pocket though, just saying. Alright, so we're gonna see what's either in and on top of Spectacle Rock, and then we're gonna get ourselves some Hera action here. That bottle's not exciting, we've already got one. And I would be shocked if Rick decides to go in for that red boomerang.
Yeah, I would be shocked if either runner decides to go in for that boomerang.
Oh yeah, I just realized this is the first time Rick has checked his map, so he did not know the crystal or pendant status of Hera. But I mean, honestly, I think... Oh, here's our Dark World check. Alright, Turtle Rock, Skullwoods, Pendants, 5-6, Swamp Ice.
Yeah, I'm certainly glad to see that Rick did his Light World check for dungeons, you know, before he ended up going to Tower of Hera. That actually might influence him, because if Hera is a pendant, he may not actually want to finish it.
Oh yeah, well, it's just smart to check first. Honestly, I think most people, like, you really don't, like, with the really early game routing, half the time, like, whether a dungeon is a pendant or crystal, like, probably shouldn't affect your decision to dive in. Like, whether, you know, if your choices are so limited and you need items to progress, whether or not a dungeon is a pendant or a crystal is less of a factor, I think, than most runners give it credit for. All right, are we gonna see any weird, wacky bomb setups for Hera Pot? No, it doesn't look like it.
I think they would need the hook shot for Hera Pot.
Oh yeah, that's right. So you're not going to, right?
Of course.
You passed my test, Clear Mouse. Well done. That was certainly a test and not a complete brain slip.
Oh no, I mean, I'm sure that these runners don't really care for Hera Pot. You know, and of course, like the nice thing about not having to Hera Pot is that we get to see kind of some more classical screens, right? You know, to scale Hera the more developer intended method.
I only climb Hera the way God intended me to climb Hera.
Uphill both ways,
your
right?
Fancy rail clipping and your what hazards with your bombs.
They do have the boots, so they at least could potentially also have a boot
Rick with the
that's a really,
bomb jump setup, and he didn't even use boots to make it free. I'm impressed. Good work, Rick.
Yeah, that is a really costly bomb jump. If they let Furaime ended up getting it, it's just as nicely.
You drop true screens, and you have to mirror because your crystal switches are all messed up. So good work on both these runners.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it actually, especially if you don't have the mirror, the camera is positioned in such a way when you drop, you actually have to kind of scroll yourself a little bit further down, so it actually costs a little bit more time.
Yeah, it's gross. Speaking of gross, Fighter Sword Moldorm 1.
Yeah.
At least you have boots, though, so there's that. But no hammer, no nothing else. Take 6 hits no matter what you do.
Yeah, also on 3 hearts and 4 hearts, I guess, respectively. Not certainly too much of a danger in terms of health, but still could be an issue. Although Rick gets it down, no cape even needed for Fighter Sword Moldorm.
Haha. Small.
Yeah, also really nice fight here on Furaime's side. Yeah, almost synced up Moldorm fights. And of course, we know that with that small key there's going to be an item in the basement. Let's see if either of these one decides to spend the time and investment and to check out what it is.
It's late enough in the spheres, like there's enough required items that made you come here that I would be I would be shocked if either runner skipped it. Yeah, they both decide to go back in. It just smells like, I mean, there are other places they could check, you know, Mitts or Hammer could very well be, you know, in Eastern like we discussed, but, you know, if you skip this now, at some point, you know, it'll just be the last place you go. And, you know, are you willing to make the time investment? Because you'd have to climb Death Mountain, like, all the way over again. Like, that would just be terrible, so. Both those runners recognizing that situation and saying, you know what, let's get it done.
Yeah,
and we're treated to the lovely Tau cutscene.
Who's ahead?
What is that supposed to? What is it? Yeah, what is it supposed to be? Like a space invader? Like I don't.
I think it's actually supposed to be Ganon. That is what I was told. It kind of looks like a pig head, I guess. I mean, but like, yeah, like this is like kind of like old game lore or, you know, myth.
It's Skullish. Oh, and they are just destroyed. There's nothing worse than spending a minute plus doing Tile Room and then you pull 10 arrows from it.
You don't even have a bow to use the 10 arrows.
Yeah. We do get to see some cool Canis Maria strats. The door doesn't actually open until that last tile is destroyed. So the sooner you destroy it, the faster the door opens. So if you know, Furaime did throw a Canis Maria block over there. Try to kill it as soon as possible. Now, Furaime is going into the dam here, which is not typically a check that gets kind of put off, I guess. So he might be worried that something important is here, especially after spending all that time in Death Mountain. Meanwhile, Rick checking out Sasha's and the hammer was there the whole time.
And the hammer's here. All right, so that's our Dark World access for both these
is. Yep, and with so many things opening up there with Dark World access, Rick says, I don't need to go to Eastern Palace. Does a quick little dance in front of the priest and Princess Zelda, which I'm sure they appreciated. They're probably bored standing there all the time.
More importantly, he also gets his heart refilled as well. Yeah, I think actually when Furaime ended up skipping the dam, I've definitely seen some runners, if they end up doing the dam, they might end up just orphaning Akina. So sometimes they just want to at least save the dam and then combine these checks in desert. We know, of course, the hammer.
The thing with that check is you can do whatever you damn well please.
And of course, you know, Furaime ended up gaining some time on Rick when he ended up checking the dam because he was there with the mirror. So definitely saved one screen transition.
Yeah, I think Furaime is running out of places that aren't the Eastern Palace area, frankly. I would be shocked if he goes anywhere but there at this point. Yep. I could have seen, I mean, like what Rick did, I liked. I could see going to Eastern Palace even before going back to those dam checks you missed, but I think, you know, you always have to consider the meta when you're making plays. Even against a one-on-one, you have to consider the meta, and like the dam is one of those places that just tends to get checked earlier rather than later. So you don't really want to risk putting it off in case something important is there. It's the same thing with Uncle routing, even though opening your seed by going straight to Uncle isn't really the most optimal way to do it. Enough people do it where if you put it off for too late, like you just might get screwed. Oh no!
Oh no, Rick!
Wow, that was an unintentional segue. Speaking of getting screwed, you got wall mastered there. I hate this room. The Stalfos and the Gibdos in here are just terrible. Sometimes they just crowd that door and you just get wrecked.
Yeah, I mean, and it's actually nothing you can actually do about it because it's actually just pure RNG. Like, there's no manipulation or anything. It just really sucks.
Yeah, I'm not aware of any. You just got to deal with it. All right, we get a Furaime map check. I do appreciate runners because I'm one of these as well. Runners that take the time to really make sure they don't mess up their Crystal Pennant assignments by keeping that menu open just a teeny bit longer. Like I respect that because all it takes is screwing that up once and you'll never do it again.
You mean you've never like misremembered or mismarked a pennant dungeon being a crystal? That's never happened to me before.
I would never do that. I would also never forget that I have silver arrows and do the Ganon fight even though they're in my inventory. All right, Rick taking that was an intentional death. He wanted to get his hearts back refilled. Does get the 2 items in Skull Woods, and they were of note. Both Bombos and Book of Medora are progression items.
Yeah, it's certainly actually really nice to be able to see, you know, both items out of Skull Woods so early. You know, it's being a pendant, you really don't want to be there, and really probably the only reason why you go back at this point is if you think something's on the pedestal or you want that pendant. Oh, wow. Meanwhile, Furaime finds our Master Sword in Cape 45, taking a south route to to Village of Outcasts.
Rick. Okay.
Oh, you
those
mean...
red guards are speedy.
Yeah, do you mean that, you know, being in Dark World on 5 hearts green mail isn't really that safe?
No, right? I would never say that. Rick finding a clutch full heart container in C-shaped house. Now we've got ourselves a hammer and boots, and Thieves Town is a crystal, so there's really no reason to not clear it. So yeah, I suspect that'll be what Rick does next.
And 6 total hearts and a working 2. It's actually surprised hearts haven't been like started beeping yet.
Yeah, I think 6 hearts is one of those weird thresholds where you have to be down to like 1. Yeah, I could be wrong though.
Yeah, despite me always being on low health, this is something I actually have not actually memorized. Meanwhile, it looks like Furaime has took his shovel to the forest grove, dug up his 3rd bottle, and did the digging game as well, and found 10 arrows for his troubles.
Yeah, you'll see when you have Power Gloves, Hammer, Dark World entry, there's like really 2 reasonable ways you could get into the Dark World, you know, and both these runners showed off both. You'll see runners preferring the Link's House kind of entrance one just because it's right next to Hype Cave. You can get those checks done and have more items like going into like Skullwoods or Thieves Town. So like, you know, if you're missing hammer, or, you know, like if you're not hammer, but like if you're missing mitts or fire rod or something, it increases the odds of you having those, you know, before you enter the area where you might like to have them. Meanwhile, Rick down to 1 heart, Monka S.
Oh no! That is really just an unfortunate placement there of the Fire Snake. Yeah, at least the good news is that, you know, this is a very common place for people to death warp and regain their health. So I'm sure that was just all purely intentional.
Oh yes. Well, I mean,
actually could be.
That firebar can be tricky if you're not lined up correctly with the dash line there. It can catch you, but honestly, like, it's a time loss, but Rick's probably not like too sad because he's like, you know what, I could have used the heart refill. Picks up a lesser known heart in Thieves Town there.
Yeah, certainly much more common if you play Inverted. Because it's probably not the first time you've died on 4 heart, you know, blind fight or something.
True.
I'm not, of course, speaking from personal experience or anything.
Exactly. But yeah, I think with this many hearts, I mean, you know, as you know, you may or may not know, Clear Mouse, blind is a scripted fight. But really? Things can still go off the rails in that fight. You know, although they do have cape and stuff as a backup, but you know, it's important to recognize, I guess, not only your limitations, but to recognize what's just good strategy. And taking an extra 10 seconds to get a heart, you know, if that's the difference between you dying and it costing you a minute, then that was time well spent. So.
Yeah, and speaking of, you know, blind being a scripted fight, blind is only a scripted fight the first time you fight him, right? So then if you die, he is going to be a heck of more trouble for you.
Yeah, and Rick is rightfully scared of these crickets because to green mail Link, they do 2 hearts of damage. So I bet he is very happy to see that heart drop from one of them.
Yeah, we can actually see even nicer having a sword and boots here, because if you don't have, at least if you only have boots and not a sword, I mean, you can't dash through any of these things.
Yeah, and I think not that either runner like necessarily absolutely needs it, but Furaime definitely in better shape in Thieves Town here. I mean, he's got Master Sword and Blue Mail from his kind of alternate Dark World start. So he's not really going to have too much of a problem. Like, he's not going to go out of his way to get hearts. He might pick up the hearts in, like, Blind's jail cell. Oh, Furaime gets the God Pixel, but does not get the God RNG. Yeah. If you line up perfectly in that center row down to the right pixel, you can dash your way through that whole area, but the enemies also have to cooperate, and they did not. Wow, it is Heart Drop City in Blind Cell for Rick. I bet he's happy to see that.
Yeah, having full hearts, 2 blind, I mean, it's going to make certainly his blind body a little bit, much safer.
Yep, and no Small Key is appeared to have locked itself up in Thieves Town, so I think the only item of note here really is that mushroom in the top floor of Thieves Town here.
That is certainly the only thing that I noticed. So, alright, meanwhile, we're going to see, what did you say something about of this fight? Is it scripted?
Yes. I mean, you know, you might be aware, but, you know. But Rick was a little slow on that third blind hit, so we are a little off script here, but he'll still be fine. Rick is a high-quality runner, and he's got a lot of safeties, so, yep. And he equipped that cape just in case things went south, which was smart, so. Even though the fight wasn't done to top execution, he really mitigated that with some good planning, so.
Yeah, one of the really nice benefits of Quick Swap there, if you are nervous, you don't have to pull up your menu. You can just LNR your way to the cape.
Well, I mean, I guess if you're really nervous, your hands are shaking, you might start over-tapping left or right. Then you accidentally like quick swap to the mirror, and then you mirror, and then you're like extra sad.
Oh yeah. Anytime you have, you think quick swap is really awesome, despite the fact that you might have mirror accidents.
Yes, yeah. Mirror in your quick swap is like a bomb just waiting to go off. So you gotta be careful. All right, let's see. All right, so Furame's blind fight going a little more on script here. Oh, of course I say that, and he misses the fifth hit, but that's all right. And see, Furaime does the exact same thing. See, this is why these guys are top quality runners, guys. You know immediately the best solution to your problem, and they both went straight for it. So that was a really good example of just kind of improvisation and quick thinking on your feet. So.
Yeah.
All right, so we're seeing Rick kind of doing. He's going to gain a little bit of time over just pure routing efficiency over Furaime here. But Furaime might have taken less time in Thieves Town, like looking for hearts and stuff. So I think it might be a slight benefit to Rick just because of the routing benefits, but I don't think it's as much as you might think.
This is, I mean, in fact, if you ask me, like, who is considered to be in the lead right now, I actually have no idea. This race is like super close right now.
Yeah, it's pretty early to tell right now to make any definite calls.
Yeah, Rick picks up his Master Sword in K45. I'm sure he was thinking, man, if I only had that in Thieves Town.
Yeah. Although, hilariously, outside of the sword being a little bit longer, the fighter sword is just as good for the blind fight. The sword is more useful for killing the enemies in Thieves Town than the actual boss fight.
Yeah, I would say the only real sword advantage for blind not is for damage, it's just it has a slightly longer reach, and maybe, you know, for more practice in MG runners, you know, they're just more used to a blind fight with Master Sword.
No wall master for Furaime and Skullwood,
really
so
nice.
that's nice. Rick is going to be able to get this bombos check done though, which is something Furaime was not able to do when he was in this vicinity. So we'll see what's here. Only a dead roasted vulture.
You know, I feel like we've seen so many 10 arrow drops. Like, I mean, are they gonna just like take all of them early seed or mid seed?
You know, I take it back, Clear Mouse. The item I want to eat the most is not the mushroom or the Canismaria, it's roasted vulture.
It's roasted vulture.
That's what I'm all about.
Is there even any meat on vultures? Like, because they just feed off of like scraps, right? I feel like it can't be like that tasty.
I mean, it tastes like victory, I guess. I was curious if Rick was going to take the hook shotless dive into Swamp Palace, but he decides no. He decides no. Can't say I blame him.
Hookless dive into swamp. I mean, that sounds so bad.
It's one of those things that, you know, we talked about it a little bit, but like larger races versus one-on-one, like it's definitely, you know, if you're in a large race, there's gonna be some guy or gal who's like, you know what, I'm gonna go into hook shotless swamp and see if I win by 10 minutes. Like, it'll happen. But
it has something like that. I believe this has happened before. Yes.
I would argue that objectively, it's not the best play right now, considering what they have available. But it's not like it's not insanity. I don't think. Especially where they have Samaria, they could do diver down and do the fast left side swamp, so it wouldn't be the end of the world. Mm-hmm. Rick having to go back here. The shovel lineup was not as fortuitous as they would have liked, so he'll enjoy his extra bee in a bottle there.
I certainly do like this backtracking. It certainly seems like Rick is trying to be much more thorough. Oh wow, speaking of which, Furaime finds the flute in King's Tomb, so his North
Nice.
Dark World route really pays off here. And then just to finish my thought, for Rick, like, because of, the shovel was in Pipe Cave, and he ended up checking that after the mirror, and he was already over there. If he doesn't check it then, to backtrack a couple screens, he's just basically always going to orphan it. So if something's there, like, he's just, just like Hera Basement, like, he's just basically screwing himself out of an item, of progression.
Furaime gets out of swimming at the lake, and just catches a bomb that Hinox threw at him. That was awesome. I mean, it still blew up in his hands, but, Furaime's the kind of guy where, like, if you throw a football at him, like, he's gonna catch it. I respect that.
Yeah. Speaking of, we see some actually nice mirror bonking strats here to get to Light World and Dark World fastest in order to be able to check this mushroom. Really approved. And with more arrows, or I guess just with one more arrow.
The single arrow. Yeah, these runners are definitely loaded. Rupees are not a problem here, so. All right, so we're gonna see a catfish check. Once again, these runners are their patterns crisscross, and then they keep meeting on the same checks at the same time. Well, I forgot that Rick had to mirror for the mushroom, so they were technically on the same sort of screen. And again, as you mentioned, we're seeing the same mirror bonk strats here from Rick. So good on these runners for being efficient. And they're both dumping their good B at the same time.
Oh, man. And, Rick and Furaime's going to be really happy that they end up visiting Catfish. Catfish has, most likely, this is going to be our logical bow, but it certainly is one of our bows here.
Yeah, I would expect both runners to immediately go straight to Palace of Darkness. Yeah, I'm curious what the time differential would be if you, since we know Misery Mire is required to just save and quit there and then just go activate your flute and then fly over there. I actually don't know what the differential is there. It's got to be close-ish.
Mm-hmm. It looks like Furaime's gonna take a pit stop briefly over a pyramid to make sure he doesn't orphan this item, and then, as you said, we just found that bow, we have the hammer, we've got the mirror. Crystal Eastern and Crystal Pod. I mean, this is probably the best time in order to be able to clear these dungeons really quick.
Yeah, definitely. Also, I had forgotten that Furaime had come at the catfish area from King's Tomb. So he needed to do pyramids. So this makes total sense. So this is actually big brain routing right here from Furaime. Proving me wrong. Good work.
Yeah. As you said, I mean, well, no, you said that you weren't wondering. You were wondering if they were going to actually activate their flute first, right?
Yep. Well, and Furaime just really routed pyramid in with the flute check very nicely there. So, whereas Rick really didn't have the same option because he had already came from there. So, but ended up electing just to go straight down here. But I mean, regardless, he is still going to reach Palace of Darkness before his opponent. So.
Yeah, so we certainly know, as you said, that because Mire's a crystal, that flute is 100% required. It is right now just going to give Furaime a little bit more mobility options. But Rick right now is probably not going to visit King's Tomb anytime soon. But it kind of also depends on when he ends up finding the mitts.
Yeah, exactly. Well, and now he checked Bumper Cave, but I don't think he did Graveyard Ledge, if memory serves.
Mm-hmm,
so he'll want to get up there eventually for that flute. So.
Right. Yeah. And another reason why I'm not as worried for Rick right now is because he has Graveyard Ledge and King's Tomb. So exactly. It's not like either one is strictly orphaned.
Oh, that was just a routing choice, really. I wasn't a skip.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, absolutely. Mm-hmm. All right, with that mirror out in hand, he just has to open this chest before activating that mirror. Small key, we know that Pod's not bow locked, but of course they have the bow, so these guys aren't going to care.
Yep. This does make for potentially cleaner Palace of Darkness routing, depending on where these keys are. Rick optimistically quick swapping to bomb already. I like it. All right, there's the key. All right, and Furaime is right behind him. Rick with a nice low bomb placement there. If you put that bomb low enough, you can stand on the breakable barrier as it explodes, saving you some precious frames walking down. So,
well, I mean, and And certainly Rick is, no slouch himself. He knows that he's up against a very formidable opponent, Furaime. So, I think any amount of advantage he can try and get himself is going to be, obviously, like, to his benefit.
Yep. And Furaime, I think, misplaced the bomb, so we ended up having to dash down into the bridge. So, well, I mean, it seems kind of weird to point out those differences, but those seconds can add up over the course of a run. Like that's how top tier runners have differences of minutes in similar seeds. It's not just routing; it's execution is also very important.
Yeah, speaking of execution, that was a really nice mimic room there by Rick. Very well placed 4 arrows and dashes. Rick certainly has a really nice pot execution so far.
And he already opened up the bomba wall there, so. All right, no big key yet, so won't be seeing hammer jump, I doubt. Furaime getting a little bodied in the pod conveyor belt room there. I think Rick was trying to do the dash bunk, and ended up. Oh no, Rick!
Oh no! Oh, these beetles. These beetles are such bad bullies.
Yeah, the red beetle pigs. Oh no! Oh, the rage. Oh no, okay. I was worried that he was gonna mirror there. There we go.
It looks like on Furaime's side, he ended up getting the doors. I think a stair extension. Didn't have to end up hitting the switch. And again, it got right through. Looks like meanwhile Rick is going to instead, as you said, going to hit the switch here and then head back.
Oh, infuriating. That's just a feels bad, man. Like it happens. But I mean, that's the lead change right there. Like, well, I mean, I guess lead is variable because they've had different routing, but it definitely hurts. Rick did lose a minute or so there.
All right, I did see time.
Rest of pod not looking too exciting here.
Yeah, Rick just found the big key, in that chest, and I saw both small keys come out of the basement, so we knew the Helm's Hallway held up a shield. Otherwise, so far, nothing of value really here in pod.
Yeah, it's been a pretty standard hammer, mirror, bow, like pod routing. Pretty straightforward, really. The only difference was that there was no early big key, so no hammer jump opportunity, But the real question is going to be if there's progression in Eastern or Pod, that will likely potentially put off the flute for Rick. He might very reasonably choose to chase that. So
yeah, even though, as you said, Graveyard Ledge and King's Tomb aren't orphaned, they're not super convenient spots to get back to, and especially if you don't have the bits for King's Tomb, which is what he needs.
I think he's got it. Yeah, there we go. So yeah, Rick opting to go down through Harmless Hellway and then back around through. Still gets the hammer jump. Not too many buffers, so good work.
Yeah, with the with the inclusion of Quick Swap, like runner's menus basically, it's like how many times do you have to pause buffer hammer jump? And like how many times are you switching to like the cane from the fire rod like on right side GT? Like that's pretty much like the only menu time that these runners have.
Yeah, you don't see, unless the seed is particularly brutal, you don't see much more than 2-minute menu time, unless some extreme cases happen. And even for these guys that took very, solid looks at their, this room is just not being kind to Rick. There we go. All right. Even these guys that took kind of longer looks at their, overworld map for the Pennant Crystal situation, you just don't see it very often. All right, no turtle party for Furaime, although he did miss the NMG strap for it.
Also did not look. Yeah, the RNG also didn't look terribly kind, but still finishes it.
But still clean it up just fine. So I just like saying turtle party. It makes it. It's such a fun name for such a lame room. It's like, what's this room called? It's called Turtle Party. Well, that sounds fun. I kind of want to go down there. What are those guys doing? A party in the dark.
I certainly have seen runners go in there with a Ninja Turtle sprite. That's even more fun, right?
Yeah. Oh, is that Spin Speed Helmosaur I'm seeing from Furaime? Hot new tech, folks. So if you activate Spin Speed as you're walking, or when you get into the Helmosaur room, it does extend that hammer hitbox. So
yeah, especially being on Master Sword, it is a really, really nice damage increase. You see how fast, like in this case, yeah, Furaime and out. Taking down Helmasaur is really pretty. Alright, third crystal, excuse me, on the board here for Furaime side with an extra heart container to boot.
Yep, and it looks like Rick had about a similar amount of party in his turtle party room. The real turtle party is when you go in there and you don't have either fire rod or lantern. That's where the real party is. That's where you go get the lampshade off of the lamp and put it on your head and start dancing and crying because that room sucks. All right, time to see what we're gonna get in Eastern from Furaime. Meanwhile, Rick getting some work done on Helmasaur where the hammer hits there.
I'm really also enjoying these, this like cave strat through that hallway. Especially with quick swap, things make it a lot nicer. Man, okay, Ice Rod in first chest of Eastern. Not probably something that you want to see, but if you see it, you'd probably rather have it sooner rather than later.
Yes. I mean, are you ever sad to see Ice Rod? Like, you might be mad to see Ice Rod depending on when you find it.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, it really depends on, like, ask me if I'm, like, 30 minutes into the seed versus, like, an hour and a half into the seed.
but again, you're probably, an hour and 30 minutes in the seed, you're probably not sad. You're mad. But yeah, as we mentioned, Furaime does have that flute over Rick right now just due to his different Dark World routing approach. So if Eastern has any progression, I mean, Ice Rod could potentially be progression, but we don't know yet whether or not that's required. Odds are pretty good that it's not, but Furaime gets the bonk on the door there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, certainly we really don't have a way right now over to East Death Mountain, both either on the light or dark side. So certainly, I'm hoping that we're going to be able to find some progression here one way or another.
Oh yeah, well, I guess like I said, if there is no progression in either Eastern or Pod, that has kind of different implications for the race because Furaime is going to immediately, most likely, he's going to flute to Misery Mire and then get Misery Mire at the very least done in the areas around there, and then he'll consider Desert based on what he finds, I suspect. Desert's a little bit more valuable because it is a green pendant, so that is an extra check. And yeah. Desert in general is not like in a particularly long dungeon, so.
Yeah, I mean, I certainly can. So Furaime's options kind of after this. As you said, there is Green Pendant Desert. There is also our favorite Hookless Swamp. I think Mire has to be put on the table because they don't have the mitts yet.
Oh yeah, thank you. I totally forgot. Like that. You're so nice, Clear Mouse. I would have just been like, Files, you moron, you forgot about mitts.
Files, you're not a moron.
So I was like, oh, they could go to Ice Palace too. I mean, look at all these things they could do that also require mitts.
I'm pretty sure you didn't say ice. Although fake flipping into ice. You have vegan sequence break. Oh no, Furaime. Oh my gosh, no. Second miss. That is unfortunate.
Imagine doing all this in the dark. That's why this room right there is one of the worst dark rooms in the game, in my humble opinion. I know we made jokes about Total Party Room, but that room in Eastern Palace, dark, without like extra tools, is a nightmare. So.
Eastern, despite being the first dungeon, really, outside of Hyrule Castle, in the vanilla game, it's surprisingly difficult to execute.
Yeah, there are some. It's a good starter dungeon. Like it doesn't really like excessively hold your hand. The Armos fight is a little crazy with the limited amount of hearts and the amount of arrow shots that it takes, but it's still interesting.
Oh yeah, no, interesting for sure. I think in just terms of optimal execution, just like Hyrule Castle and Escape, the skill bar is higher than you might expect.
Oh sure, well, and especially for like if you're trying to speedrun the game too, like there's like Desert's a fun dungeon too because there's a lot of like really interesting like dash lines and stuff like that. So, but Desert is a dungeon they could definitely go into and does not require mitts, so I felt safe talking about it.
Yes. Alright, so it does actually look like we did not find any progression in Eastern Palace, you said. So it looks like Furaime is going to make his way over to the mountain.
Yeah, I suspect he's going to take that hammer and do East Death Mountain, which is a solid play.
Mm-hmm.
maybe they'll find myths, so I stop getting so confused all the time like an old man. When I was your age, we used to be able to lift all the rocks, regardless of what we had in our hands. You kids with your highly and overworld music, get off my lawn. Alright, let's see how Rick handles his Armos fight here. Does get the extra kill on one of them. Yeah, does see Red Armos Knight, but only takes an extra second or so. The other bow on Ether Tablet.
Well, if only these guys had just come up here earlier, you know, with that hammer and the book, you know, they could have had silvers for Armos.
Yeah, definitely. But, you know, maybe they'll remember they have him for Ganon. Who knows? All right, Quake on Lake Hylia, or not Lake Hylia, the floating island in Death Mountain there. That's good to keep in mind because we haven't seen any of the requirements for either Misery Mire or Turtle Rock yet, so.
Yeah, looks like according to our great tracker, the lady, clicking those buttons behind the scenes and keeping us honest, it looks like both Rick and Furaime have the other two medallions. So at least, like, if they need Quake, you know, once they eventually find it, you know, they know where it is.
Oh yeah. I imagine Blady is just like, when I start talking about like dungeons that require myths, just like aggressively pointing at the tracker and be like, come on, I'm working hard here. Alright, so we're seeing... Oh, are we seeing a Burna Spike Cave check? No, we're not. I debated even talking about it, but... Rick also going to the high-value locations.
Yeah, no, this is going to be really... Oh, alright, okay. We can go access Mire now, because Furaime just picked up the bits here at the bottom of Paradox Cave. And another heart container.
Yes. All right, time for the big payout. 5 chests. What do we got so far? Hot garbage. It's not even hot. It's tepid garbage.
You know, with the fact that Furaime has Red Veil, he probably doesn't need at this point, you know, 12 hearts or 13 hearts or whatever they get, and plus Mirror Shields.
Riot Shield. That's actually the cherry on top of the crap that was that Paradox Cave. I'm downgrading it to cold garbage.
You know, I'm sure at this point he would probably be willing to trade like 5 hearts and like all of his shields for another sword. Alright, of course, with that Myths pickup, with that mirror as well, he can also now do all of Dark Death Mountain, with the exception of the rest of the Shock Cave, except that first chest.
Yes. The important thing is that they have myths, so I am significantly less confused now. Like that's all we really have to like. Like for me specifically, Clear Mouse. That's all I'm about. Like I have been saved. Thank you, based runners.
Runners are here for you, Files.
You know, it would not have been like absolutely insane for Furaime to like just go do like Compass Room and Turtle Rock just to see. Like I have seen runners do that, like when it's like Pen and Turtle Rock, like just take a peek in there and see. But you do have to ride a lot of Cane of Samaria like bridges for that, so it's not it's medium risk and kind of low and high reward, but much better to do you know, the runners are essentially, unless we need well, actually, we know where Quake is, so they're essentially in hookshot mode at this point.
Yeah, hookshot is strictly required in this case, not just a strong suggestion.
Yes. Yeah, it is impossible to hover swamp. I mean, I'm sure they'll figure out some way to do it with, like, Samaria Ancilla or something, but as of right now, not possible.
Samaria Ancilla? Man. That would be some hot new discovery tech here on stream if that happens.
I'm just saying it wouldn't surprise me to Clear Mouse. Oh, yes. Rick, it's Dead Rock. I hate, like, Dead Rocks are the worst. They are the worst enemy. 100%. Don't at me. They have instant acceleration, and, like, it's not like, if they would, like, point in the direction that they're gonna go, like, when they stop, at least you could, like, predict them, but no, they're just jerks. I'm sad. Clear Mouse is where I'm going with this.
Yeah, you know, speaking of your potential, here, dive here into the Compass chest of Turtle Rock. Looks like that's exactly where he's going.
Well, the thing is if it's not a small key, then you're fire rod locked, right? Because you can't get the keys on the right side, and you can't go through the door on the north. So it's a pretty quick It's a pretty quick check. Yep. So
Yeah,
now
and
he
he's
knows.
locked out. Mhm.
Yep. Now he knows that I don't need to worry about it. So like I said, it's not a that took him what, like 30-40 seconds, give or take. So it's kind of a way to avoid getting completely blown out, because if like hookshot was in there, and it could have been, that would have been trouble. Really nice hammer dash by Furaime there, by the way, timing the hammer hit so it hits the Lionel, saves him some precious second there or two there.
Yeah, I definitely really like this routing here by Furaime. He's being very thorough, and especially I think this early, probably into the seed or the race. I don't think he thinks he just needs to take any unnecessary risks.
Oh yeah, it's just smart routing.
Oh no! Unfortunately, I didn't quite get to see what's in Spike Cave.
Yeah, I did not either. I'm
well,
watching his inventory. I did not see a hook shot. I didn't think he scrolled through that section of it. You can see both these runners picking up quick while they're here. We don't know what the Misery Mire medallion is, and if it turns out to be quick, you don't want to have to like come back up here and get it, because that is just a tremendous multiple minute time loss. So
yeah. Alright, well, it looks like we're not going to actually get our Misery Mire check initially, because with those newfound myths and access to ice pallets, that's exactly where Furaime's going.
Hey, I suspect Furaime is doing this because he wants to get this done. With Icebreaker, Canis Samaria, this dungeon's really not quite so bad anymore, and I suspect he wants to get this done first. So if he has to decide between diving like Green Pendant, Desert Palace, that it's you're making a little bit more of an informed decision.
Some really smart routing that I had actually forgot about is that neither runner has touched desert, so this would be a really nice combination.
Well, see, now that we have Mitz clear mouse, everything I say is no longer incorrect. So, oh, we got almost perfect Taj So bomb strats from the Pengators there. Still getting 5 out of 6 is still impressive. All right, so Rick helping us out with the Burn a Spike Cave chest. It was indeed $5. Nothing particularly exciting. Furaime going back to do the does he have enough mana for a Samaria? Oh, he's got blue potion again. I was a little worried he didn't have the mana for a Samaria block. It's close. Like, the magic meter in this game is deceptive. Like, you might think you have enough juice for like a lantern shot or something, but you don't. All right, see, and it looks like our runners having real similar routing ideas here. They keep crisscrossing each other, and Rick preemptively using his potion because he's in the same boat.
Yeah, and this also, like, this is a crystal dungeon that you can complete, right? Why not? If your progression's here, like, who cares about everything else? Just go clear Mire. And you can go most mob.
All right, chat is correcting me. That was in fact blue boomerang. Thanks, chat.
Oh, I actually thought that. Oh, I actually thought that was intentional. Like, you thought the blue boomerang was worth 5 rupees, which is why I didn't say anything.
No.
I was like, I'm like, there's crew swap now that I don't need the boomerang.
Guys, he found the myths again in Burn a Spike Cave. Trust me. All right, Rick, once again, utilizing medallion strats for these rooms, so I like it. Oh, there's our hook shot.
Alright, speaking of which, is that our go mode? Oh no, do we still need? We may need Fire Rod for our bright side.
It's possible.
Logically.
Yeah, although, I mean, I don't know about Rick. I'm pretty sure Furaime knows Lantern stats for right side GT. Yeah, it's not an especially fun thing to do, and it takes up a lot of time, so not every runner knows it. Or it knows how to do it and might not be very well practiced on it, which is what I suspect most people are.
Yeah, I mean, certainly for Furaime here, I am fairly confident, although maybe don't hold me 100% to it, that this is going to be his go mode. For Rick, I don't think I'm as familiar with what he's capable of on right side GT. But if we end up seeing right side GT without Fire Rod, it'll be actually quite a treat.
I mean, these guys are going to be pretty close. I mean, Rick is just like a minute or so behind Furaime with this hookshot get. The real question is, I mean, both these runners are on Master Sword, so even if Furaime is... Oh no, he missed the cold stare spin. He's going to have to do some puff cleanup here.
Yeah,
He's got cape for backup if he needs it, but this is going to give Rick a chance to get some time back, actually.
I was gonna say, you know, like, one of the disadvantages here of not having a fire rod, despite the fact you have bombos and like a lot of magic, you can't use the fire rod. I mean, the only thing really you could use here is sword spins or sword slashes and the hammer.
Yeah, I mean, he's getting some good dash pokes in, but this is just straight up time bleed. Like, I mean, he's doing a decent job recovering from it, but it just is unfortunate. Getting a little low on health. Okay, here we go. Red mail makes this a lot more forgivable.
Yeah. Alright, Colster dropping 10 more bombs for Furaime. You know, all the things he wants to do for Ice Palace bomb jumps.
Yeah. I mean, the real question here is, even though, you know, I had forgotten that Rick is going to have to clear the rest of Ice Palace because, you know, he does not have that flute yet. So, you know, we're just going to have to see. You know, with this check in Ice Palace is one of the more time-costly checks that, you know, Furaime is going to get to skip, so.
Yeah, also costing some good amount of magic, too, unfortunately. I think he'll still have enough because he, you know, just needs bombos. I mean, there's enough, like, on the 2 magic containers right before the room, but still.
Oh, yeah, he'll be fine.
Unfortunately, yeah, I think I lost track of how many items that we had actually seen on Furaime side. I know we saw the hookshot, and I know we saw, one other item that I just missed.
Oh,
I don't know if Rick was looking for a 3rd one.
Well, we'll find out when we see the cold stare drop. Once I saw Furaime safely complete the fight, I was not looking over there anymore. But as expected, he's heading straight over to Misery Mire here. Be curious to see how many extra chests these runners go for, just on the off chance that oh no, Rick's bunny has been turned into another slightly different bunny.
I didn't actually realize the bunny sprite for the bunny was another bunny. I just thought it would have been Link.
Yeah, all right, but yeah, it'll be interesting to see, because I think in terms of like extra chests, like Furaime is probably going to check the low-hanging easy chests because he's got like a tempered sword upgrade would save time, like that's worth checking for. And also, if you know, I'm sure he's capable of doing right side GT with Lantern, but it still takes more time than like having a fire rod. So there are reasons to kind of check chests as you go that are easy to get, and plus he needs to find the big key in here. So
yeah, I certainly don't think he's gonna say no to a temper sword.
Oh, Rick gets a ton of hammer hits in on all 3 puffs there. That was nice. Now, obviously with Master Sword, no matter what you do, you're going to have a little bit of a puff party with Cold Stare. But his Cold Stare fight is way shorter than Furaime's. We'll see. We just got to see how long it takes him to get to that graveyard ledge. White/King's Tomb. So yeah, there's our answer, Clear Mouse. Cold Stare did have the final item, so. And chat was also helping us out as well.
Yeah.
Old man Files doesn't know where items are.
No. I was watching the same screen, Files.
Look, I can make fun of me. I'm not gonna make fun of you.
Alright, it looks like Furaime is still hunting for that big chest. I don't remember seeing any items so far. I remember seeing keys, I saw a compass.
Yeah, just looking for the key of sufficient size for Misery Mire here. There it is.
Alright, yeah, that's really nice news for Furaime here. It doesn't have to sit through the cutscene chest, which is the vanilla big key chest. You can go straight to Vitreous. And with 16 silver arrows, so assuming he remembers that he has silver arrows, Vitreous should be a relatively fast fight.
Oh yeah. I mean, and this is like, Rick is doing a very reasonable thing right now. Like, go do a crystal dungeon. You gotta do it anyway. Who knows? Maybe food will be there. Like, totally reasonable. Like, smart planning. Just unfortunately, it's not the answer here. We know that flute is not in here, and Rick is going to bleed a lot of time here, especially if he does left side swamp. Even if he does it, you know, relatively quickly with new tech, it still takes time. So.
Yeah, I mean, you're always gonna have some time loss if you end up not full clearing swamp versus someone who can full clear swamp. Go mode swamp. And
honestly, like skipping left side swamp to like go do Graveyard Ledge and King's Tomb. Like that would be a weird
Yeah,
play.
exactly. Yeah, I mean, it's just that
Like,
you have 6 checks in Swamp, you know, versus like 2 that's super out of the way.
well, by the time you get done with Swamp, you've got 2, maybe 3, or 2 checks rather at max on left side Swamp. So it's still a 2-on-2, but like I could see him like maybe leaving if it's just 1, like if he finds a mapper like mapping. I don't know. I'm trying to think of scenarios in which Rick can claw his way back here, but just the routing, you know, that he did was pretty reasonable at the time. Just kind of ended up biting him in the butt here. I think the real interesting thing is going to be right side GT the answer for the big key, and if so, are we going to ever see the Fire Rod?
Yeah, speaking of no Fire Rod means no speaking action in Mire. In fact, I was actually watching a very rarely seen screen these days in Mire because, you know, Furaime doesn't have the Fire Rod to do spooky, so we actually had to see him bomb that extra wall and hit the switch before moving on.
Oh yeah, he had to use Mario Block strats to hit the crystal switch too.
I mean, what year is this? Is this like, or what month is this rather even?
No, it's this year if you're watching my terrible stream, because I cannot do that trick to save my life. So this is the seed for those of us who are spooky noobs. All right, so we've seen not map or not compass. So I'm curious to see if Rick is just going to go straight to the back. He is. Could be good. We'll see if he decides to skip out on left side Swamp here. He could still be alive.
Yeah, certainly if Rick is confident in his right side GT without the Fire Rod, and if he thinks that it's just fluke go mode for him, you know, skipping left side the first time if you're only going money for 1 item, like, makes a lot of sense.
Oh yeah, definitely. I'm trying to hold out hope. All right, so there's the map. So we know that there's at least 1 item on the left side as well. Meanwhile, Furaime making his way into Swamp Palace. Now he is. There's no question about what he's. There's a Fire Rod.
Oh man! All right, so forget all the stuff that we were speculating about right side GT needing the Fire Rod, because there is a Fire Rod.
This is
in
actually
the middle
interesting
of Swamp.
because right side GT without Fire Rod is doable, but it is kind of crappy. Like you have to go, like you have to leave the room, enter from the top. The timing is really tight. The bomb jump is not like. I mean, it's not like insanely difficult. It's not something that a lot of runners practice. Like it's not a, you know, like it's not a really common thing. So while I'm sure most top tier runners are capable of it, it does take extra time, and there is the chance that you could like mess it up. You might have to set the room up again. You know, I suspect, you know, that the chest that the Fire Rod was in is a quick, easy chest. So if Furaime is like looking for Tempered Sword, he might still pick it up. So, but if he doesn't, this race will have gotten a little interesting.
Yeah, certainly I think the most likely set of candidates who are more well-versed in right side GT is probably entrance runners.
Yeah, for sure. Rick goes for the Silver Arrow Argus finisher. Is the fastest way to kill him if you've got it, but is a little tricky to land the arrow. He got it eventually, though.
So, despite Argus being, like, gigantic, you know, the hitbox for him is surprisingly small.
Yeah, all right, moment of truth. Is Furaime going to check this chest? He is going to get that Fire Rod. he was probably hoping for Tempered, but he's like, all right, I guess I'll take this.
There is always another sort of GT, right? Somewhere. It just depends on where that big key is and if Furaim's going to be able to find it.
I mean, they don't necessarily, you know, need a sword. It's just, it makes things a little faster. And with silvers, it's not like...
Oh yeah, that's true.
Your Ganon fight is not, you know, you're not going to need 24 or whatever it is, sword spins. You know, you just need to get him, you know, you need to stick the pig a few times and that's about it, so...
Oh, is Furaime going here for the 0 cycle? Oh, really nice though. Almost! Well, probably about halfway through getting all the pulse down.
And as expected, Rick is going for... left side Swamp. Can't say I blame him at all. This is a very reasonable play to make if you're here. It's just, unfortunately, we know it's not the answer. Furaime had a really nice setup for the first phase of Argus, and much like his opponent, is having trouble on the second phase. Furaime.
Oh no! Oh no! Yeah, so
Right.
I guess it's that with only 10 silver arrows, like he may or may not actually want to save an arrow or save enough arrows for.
Well, as you mentioned, the hitbox for silver arrows there is pretty tight. If you're not used to the timing, and once you miss, like it's kind of a nightmare to reline him up again. So Furaime probably just felt more comfortable with like traditional like NMG, Master Sword, Fire Rod strats, but he did get away from it a little bit.
So, with the Swamp Palace clear and Argus takedown, is that our last crystal that we just finished up on Furaime side?
Yep, we're making our way to GT.
I
think Furaime drank his only blue potion because I think he only bought one at the witch's house. So, not that he'll necessarily need it, but just something to keep in mind. I keep on wanting to say like, well, we'll see how much magic he wastes trying to do right side GT lantern strats, but no, it's much like the myths. I keep forgetting that he picked up the fire rod. All right, so Rick is saddened by his lack of flute, unfortunately, in left side swamp. Little trouble with hook speed there. Setting up hook speed there is extra annoying because if you miss, like you can hook shot across like the entire screen. It's very annoying.
It's something certainly unintended. Yeah. Meanwhile, you know, as we are seeing a bunch of numbers here in chat, we should maybe play a little game for what Furaime is about to do.
Is it Parcheesi?
Parcheesi's fun. Does it involve a bunch of numbers?
I mean, it can.
I'm not good with numbers, Files. You're gonna have to help me out here.
We've established this. My favorite, I mean, and again, Rick is doing very reasonable things right now. Like you get done with 5-6 crystal, you know, hook shots, one of your later tier sphere checks. I think I haven't been tracking it mentally in my head very well, but you know, you're right here. Why not do the OJ bomb, right? Flute could very well be here.
Yeah, and especially if this is his way up from Pyramid. He does Pyramid Fairy. If nothing's here, he can just kind of keep going further north, hook shot over, and then do King's Tomb and Graveyard Ledge. All right. Meanwhile, we have. Looks like Furaime is taking his. I think it's more his common path here in GT routing, visiting Hope Room first. First chest is a green rupee, the other green rupee, and a red rupee. So no small key means.
All right, no small key in the Hope Room, which means those of us that subscribe to have Dark Magician strats, you know, that's a scenario you want to see. There are some people that like to go left side first and mirror out of the Stalfos 4 chest room, and then go full right, but we'll have to see. Rick is.
Oh my gosh, I forgot. Rick never did.
Yeah, I mean this is smart, right? Like I mean,
wow.
Flute could theoretically be here. He hasn't needed it to get anything else. You know, like he's really grouping checks together nicely. It's not the answer, unfortunately.
I don't know. This is our first check.
I mean, it's an early game check. Like these checks are arguably not as valuable as other checks, but I mean. You're here, like it's efficient clustering anyway, so like I totally get why he's doing it.
Yeah, certainly at this point, since he's already done all of Left Side Swamp, as you said, this is probably his most dense location in terms of items. All right. Oh no. Furaime is taking those blue rupees. That 5.
Did he try to quick swap to hook shot there? That is awesome. Yeah, menu buddy, there you go. No, he was too high. You gotta be lower than that, I think. I'm not. There we go, alright. He got it. You either gotta be lower than that or faster on your hook shot. We got there, though. Nothing says speedrun tech like doing a trick and then having the trick take longer than doing it like the traditional way. If that's not speedrunning clear mouse, I don't know what is.
I mean, I'm pretty sure I saw first try NMG strats there, you know, on Furaime side. as we continue here to Rando Room on GT, still with no big key.
Yeah, we'll see. I always enjoy it when the randomizer room has the GT big key. It's like,
yeah,
you know,
I mean,
the only room. Yeah, like it's named after it.
Alright, looks like, wait, look, Rick is making the play here. After Hydro Castle, he is, oh wow. Alright, meanwhile, Furaime finds the Tempered Sword right before he finds the big key. Holy cow, what a sequence! He has checked them in the opposite order, he would have not picked up that Tempered Sword.
That is bull crap. Wow. Wow. Although, honestly, if, like, you know, for the same reasons he grabbed the Fire Rod chest, you know, the Waterfall chest in Swamp, if, you know, if there's a chance for you to get Tempered Sword and you're right there, like, I probably would have checked those chests before I left, too. Like, it's a low-risk, high-reward kind of play, so. But meanwhile, our good friend Rick has made the play. Props to him for, you know, one item away from go mode with one check. Opts to go straight to King's Tomb instead of, you know, you could make the argument to go in the Dark World so you can do Graveyard Ledge and King's Tomb first, but, you know, when you can bang out one of those checks very quickly, as opposed to taking a long time to set up both, when you're only one item from go mode, I think that's the smarter play. And Rick did make the smarter play there. I mean, honestly, his endgame routing here has made a lot of sense to me, like, you know, clustering checks together, like, getting a lot of things done at the same time that made a lot of sense. You know, just did not pay off for him at this particular seed, unfortunately.
Yeah,
Furaime's mid-game routing to get that flute was just really solid and kind of hard to come back from.
Furaime certainly was, you know, as you said, much more thorough in the Dark World overworld as was Rick. Yeah, I'm also glad here in Rick's endgame, you know, as you said, like, I actually really do like the routing as well. King's Tomb is really fast check for him, and I'm glad he didn't get baited into doing, like, the Smith chain, right? That, you know, was definitely unlocked once he found the mitts.
Alright, so we got Sword Beams and Fire Rod out. I want to see Rick's Mire 2 room here.
Oh,
because I don't want to look at the Silver's land mode that's going on the right side of my screen. I don't want to see it.
That was a little unfortunate. Oh my gosh.
Furaime, why?
Alright, okay, so he spent only, you know, 3 arrows that I saw land on land mode, which is great. You know, and for those of us who are concerned, yes, in this case, you know, Furaime will have enough arrows because, you know, he just picked up 5 here for the pot. I think there's 5 more potentially up on GT if he needs them. But, you know, given that he has 6 and he doesn't need to use them anymore, he should be fine.
Oh yeah, well, I mean, you always want to have like more than 4, just because sometimes
sure.
You'll go for the double or triple. You want to be able to like shoot more arrows to really make the fight go as fast as possible. But yeah, 4 is the minimum. Meanwhile, we know that the GT Big is in kind of a lame spot. It's in the chest just south of the room that Rick is in. I mean, you could go straight there now after this room with the keys that you have, but it's not a real common play. Like, most people end up going to the Crystal Switch room. It just tends to be the faster way to clear this dungeon, so. And Furaime not checking any more chests. He got everything he needed from the randomizer room.
Yeah, so
the only thing he could possibly get that might save him time is maybe Half Magic or Butter Sword, but even then, like, don't really need it. Like, not worth the time. And the odds of you getting that exact thing are so low, like, it's just not worth the time.
Yeah, he is still only on 5.5 hearts right now. He does have red mail, but, you know, you still would probably for a little bit more cushion, you know, if you go fight Ganon.
All right, Rick doing the check before doing left side Mire there, and that'll pay off for him. Does pick up that big key, so he'll be able to go right up here to the boss. All right, get out your protractor, Clear Mouse. Are you ready for bagging him too?
I thought we were looking for the compass, you know, to help me run these arcs.
We already found the compass in GT. But...
Was that a triple? I know that all 3 hits landed. I don't know how many
really hard to tell on the restream. I think it only counted as 2 because I only saw him move once, but don't quote me on that. Yeah, it looks like
you are correct, because the second cycle is definitely 2 hits, so he only needs 1 more here.
As long as it doesn't involve mitts or also maybe the Fire Rod, I'm relatively knowledgeable, Clear Mouse. And Furaime doing unspeakable things to Aghanim there. This is a family seed. Family friendly broadcaster. Come on.
It's like,
I don't know
he's
how family friendly the seed itself is. But...
He's already dead. Doesn't do anything more.
Well, I mean, in terms of like speed of seeds. This has been a relatively, you know, straightforward one. You know, like how soon did you? A lot of things were in dungeons. You know, how soon did you get to King's Tomb? Essentially, I'd say if the flute were in Graveyard Legends instead, this would have been maybe a different seed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Just looking back on our pendant dungeons, we never had to touch desert. I think we found bombos, which was in Skull, and that let them do ice. And then there was nothing of note in TR. So I mean, yeah, in terms of just speed of dungeons, as long as you found that flute, this was going to be a really fast running wise because everything was just in your path.
Well, and front of Skullwoods is such a high value location. Like most runners know that location more than others just is skewed more towards progression for whatever reason. So you won't see a lot of runners skipping the front of Skullwoods even when it's a pendant. So.
Oh yeah, and not only and I totally forgot the other item in front of the Skullwoods was the book, which we definitely needed. So.
Oh yeah, that was bow number 1, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
All right, we got ourselves Furaime. We're just waiting for Ganon to calm down, stop teleporting all over the place. All right, upper right location for Ganon teleport. Not great. I think you'll only be able to get 2 here. Yep. Oh, and he teleports in place. What was that?
that is some nice RNG.
Yeah, nice finish from Furaime there. So get your. I'm already seeing the GGs in chat. Good work, Twitch chat. Bust out your GGs. For Furaime, it looks like he's going to be finishing with an official race time of 1 hour, 17 minutes, 56 seconds. So GG's. We unfortunately are not going to get the famed Furaime interview this time around, Clear Mouse.
Certainly not in voice chat, but I do see in Twitch chat, Furaime is, I believe, a signal that he is present. So if you have any questions for him, feel free to type it out.
Yes, exactly. I can give you the true Furaime experience. GG.
GG.
Meanwhile, Rick, making that smart grab. Opting to duck into, you'll see this a lot with runners that are in a position of only Master Sword. There are 3 relatively quick checks to pick up on your way to GT here. So if you are looking for a Tempered Sword and you find one in here, I would say it's a net time, gain. So it's not unusual to see people kind of duck in there looking for a sword. So I definitely get why he's doing that. Oh, very cool. So we saw Furaime when he went across that bridge. He did the hammer dash and timed the hammer hit perfectly to knock the guy away. But Rick had a cool strat there where you extend the hook shot to dodge the fireball hit.
Of course, if he just found the Tempered Sword in Hookshot Cave, then he probably would have just dashed right through. I blame the seed.
Exactly. So we'll see here if yeah, Rick is gonna go. This is what I would call, if there's a standard way to route GT, this is it. Like, check the Hope Room. If you get a key, consider going right. Otherwise, you're on the full left track. So the real question, Clear Mouse, is will Rick check the order of the chests in Randomizer room the same way Furaime did and pick up his free Tempered Sword? I mean, we'll have to see.
Yeah, that is actually a really great question.
Well, I mean, again, if Rick is willing to make the heads-up play to consider, like, ducking into Hookshot Cave to look for that sword, I would be surprised if he didn't, even if he picked up the GT Big Key before Tempered, like, he would probably check the chests right there. It's a faster chest to grab than Hookshot Cave chests are, so. All right, so Rick making his way here. We'll see if he has the same boomerang-related troubles.
I'm pretty sure Furaime thought the blue boomerang was just a 5 rupee, and that's why he was having so much trouble with it. I mean, like, it's a rupee, right? How does it fall back?
Called out by Clear Mouse. Oh man, it hurts. Oh, it hurts because it's true. All right, Rick bailing me out by utilizing Samaria strats there. Good work. Not busting out his blue rupee. He does accidentally hookshot north though, which is not the answer, but But yeah, I
Yeah,
mean that's a nice clean way to do those rooms with Samaria. So
yeah, even nicer because like we can quick swap now, so you know you don't have to even spend the menu time in order to switch over to the King of Samaria.
oh yeah. All right, so Rick is very close to his sword here. Let's see what I mean, the standard chest order is counterclockwise starting in the bottom left. So I mean that's pretty normal. Yep, so he'll get his he's like booyah, tempered sword, double
Tempered
booyah,
sword.
big key, I'm out of here. Peace out, yo.
Yeah, exact same routing by Furaime, by Rick as you know in comparison to Furaime.
Oh yeah, definitely. But yeah, this is all in all, this was a really fun seed. I think the story of it really just ended up being, you know, as we mentioned, that flute was the big difference. You know, I don't know if Furaime, I don't know if you're still in this chat and want to respond in text, but do you like when you're presented with like a mitts, or excuse me, with a gloves, hammer, like Dark World access, like do you really prefer that Link's House entrance first, or does it like depend on like what your items are? Like I think a lot of runners have different opinions on that, you know, whether they want to start up by Skull Woods and Thieves Town, or if they want to do like the hype cave checks, and it could be variable on you know what items they have, but I think some people just have a hard preference as to what they like. Meanwhile, Rick getting a little bodied in the Mimic room, but does manage to recover.
Yeah, still has plenty of arrows here left for his climb. I'm always somewhat wary of, you know, arrow usage, you know, when we're in GT.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, he's got arrows to spare too. He could always pick up the extra, you know, the extra 5 that are post land mode too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, certainly Silvers gives you a lot more leeway in terms of arrow usage.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Did that bone just like deflect the fire rod or something? Like, I don't know if I've seen that before.
Yeah, I can't tell if it just hit the skull. I mean, the BMOS beam, it can act as a projectile. Like I've seen people like shoot it with arrows or whatever. So game's weird. Don't know what else to tell you.
Yeah. You know, sometimes, you know, you play this game so often for so long, and yet there's still like behavior that just really surprises you. Yeah, speaking of spooky, I think that was some splash damage there.
Yeah, if you hold I believe down left in that room. All right, much cleaner. very nice.
That was a really nice land mode 2 there.
That is how you do land mode 2. That is how you do land mode 2.
Yeah, when things go right, things go really right. Very happy.
Well, he did the bonk for the setup too. Like, I respect it. Oh, yeah. He's getting the free magic refill. That's what you like to see. Booyah. Always happy to see that. Usually you're happy to see that when, like, if you don't have silvers and you're using, like, Fire Rod to kill Landmo 2 and you have, like, almost no magic, and then you get the magic refill there, that's always clutch.
Yeah, in general, like, you know, whenever I actually look at Rick's screen, you know, like, and like, this is also an example of his, you know, GT execution, is, like, this entire execution, his entire seed, like, his execution has been just, like, really on point.
Oh yeah, there are not a lot of slouches in the League Invitational, that's for sure. Like, this league this season has been great for just tons of high quality matches, and these two runners are no exception. If that Landmo 2 Silver's perfection was any question.
Yeah, and also just as a slight reminder, this is actually a doubleheader between team the Bomb Squad and Komodo Hypers. So this, you know, first match here is between Rick and Furaime on this same channel. I'm not actually sure if it's going to start exactly at 10:10, or maybe it'll start, you know, a little bit earlier depending on when Rick finishes. But it's going to be in this case Kyung versus another member.
If I had pulled up the schedule, I could have bailed you out. But what I could do instead,
it is Fred.
Is it Fred? Okay, all right.
Yes,
I was gonna blather on to like,
yes.
give you time, because if there's one thing I'm good for, it's blathering on about things I don't know anything about, like where the myths are.
So much fun. No, you know so much, Miles.
Yeah, don't go anywhere.
You just didn't know it. You know, you just didn't know it at the right time. Is all. Because it was still true.
But yeah, don't go anywhere, because you're gonna see, you know, the league is 2 matches per team per week, so we're gonna be seeing the exciting follow-up to these two here right after this. So Same hot channel, different hot players, different hot time. I don't know why hot was the adjective I chose, but we're just gonna roll with it.
Yeah, speaking of hot execution, I think that was a 3-cycle actually on Rick's side. It sounded like 2-2-2.
I believe that was the triple double. You're always happy to see like 3-cycle Agatu is like all you can ask for. You need a lot of luck and good execution to get the double triple, but if you could 3-cycle Agatu, like you're doing pretty good. No one's ever sad to see that. Because the real Aghanim has a 50-50, I believe, for blue ball or not. So, all right, let's check out our good friend Rick's Ganon fight here. Oh, it gets the nice pitchfork double sword spin set up there. Always good to see. Very clean. And he is just beating the crap out of him. Emergency menus to cape. I like it. The last thing you want to do here is die, because that is a time loss. I don't know if you knew this, Clear Mouse, but dying is a time loss.
You know, I didn't think it fully registered until you just told me just now.
Yeah, I like to put
You think Rick might know?
Oh, I'm sure he does. That's why he did the menuing. He's one step ahead of us.
Yeah, so
right,
with Redmill, I think he should be able to take one more hit if he really needs it. Of course, there are all these warps here.
Well, he's got a potion too, so like he's not especially concerned, I don't think. But you know, a potion can be in your inventory as you die, as you know. So, yeah. But I mean, he should be able to. This phase is relatively predictable, so I suspect he's not really going to be. Yeah, he'll be able to get 2 here, and then yeah. So I suspect he's not even worried about. Yeah, see, he was not expecting the ridiculous self-teleport that Furaime was looking for there. So, all right, real solid Ganon fight from Rick there. Got some work done.
Yeah, overall, just really solid performance here by Rick. Get your GGs in chat out for his finish.
Yeah, lots of get your GGs out.
Yeah,
so Rick finishing up with an official time of 1:28:34. So let's see if we can get Rick in here. See if he can chat with us about the seed.
We are
joined by Adirondack Rick. Rick, GG's, man.
GG's, Rick.
Oh, thank you, and also a special GG's to Furaime, who figured this out 11 minutes faster than I did.
Yeah, the story of this seed for you two was that's flute on King's Tomb, unfortunately.
Mm-hmm.
You and the way progression is like you were doing all kinds of like smart like routing and like clustering of checks, but it just turned out that the answer was not in those dungeons. It was on the overworld.
Well, I think that definitely hurt me a little bit, not getting to that flute faster, but I think not getting Spear 1 hammer before the first trip of the mountain, which kept me away from the Titan's Myth for a while. Probably didn't help either.
Actually, you were in the Dark World, and you got the hammer actually before Furaime did.
Yeah, you guys actually had very similar. It was actually kind of funny. You guys had very similar. You kept meeting each other in your first like 15 minutes or so routing. But you are definitely right. Like I agree with you that late hammer was definitely a problem, but it was a problem for both of you.
Yeah, and we were discussing it real briefly in the race room that his route was going south up to north versus mine going from north to south, which kind of put me away from King's Tomb for a while.
Oh yeah, and some of that just has to do with, you know, some people like to start their Dark World like Power Glove hammer on the south side, you know, by Hype Cave, and some people like to do it by north. I don't think one answer is necessarily right or wrong. It just, you know, sometimes you get randoed.
You know, that's one of those circumstances that comes down to luck. It was just unfortunate luck for me that the flute turned out to be there, but luckily I was keeping myself away from being baited into the other pendant dungeons of Desert, nor staying out of Turtle Rock, because who wants to go into those dungeons?
Yeah, if Fire Rod had been like on Death Mountain or something, that would have been pretty gross. Like I think it would have been hard to resist the sweet temptation of Pendant Turtle Rock.
I don't know. I don't know if I would have pulled that trigger at that point. Getting the mitts at the time that I did meant it was time for me to go to Ice Palace. That was the number one play for me at that point.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, I think for what it's worth, after Furaime picked up the mist, that was also his like next move.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you guys had. I mean, there was real similar. Like you guys both like routed this really smart, like based off of what information you had. Just as you said, there's the top down versus down up. Routing. Sometimes it just happens.
Yeah, and this one here came down to luck. It's one of those cases. Furaime is going to be a tough opponent to beat under most circumstances. I respect what Furaime has as far as talent's concerned in this game, and I'm just happy the fact that I was able to finish this thing at sub 130. Like most times, a 130 in an open mode is going to win you a race. Just not this time.
Well, you had lots of there were lots of good moments from both of you. Like you had a really clutch land mode 2 silvers, like that was really good. And, like both of you guys were putting on a real good show with execution. But yeah, I mean that's kind of the fun thing about Randomizer is sometimes it does come down to execution makes a lot of difference, but sometimes there is routing differences that end up being important, and like little things early on the seed can snowball into big things later.
Yeah, and just looking at the count here, based on what I see on the screen here and what I have on my screen, that's a 12-item difference, which can be quite a big difference. I know I ended up checking Hookshot Cave, which came up empty, trying to get the Tempered Sword, only to have it be right next to the big key.
Yeah.
And I was listening
I don't
here,
for that at all.
regardless of whether in what order I was opening those chests, I was checking all 4 chests in that room.
I'm glad to hear that.
Well, if you're willing to duck into Hookshot Cave and that's a time positive scenario. Like if you find Tempered in there, that was time well spent. So it's kind of a low risk, high reward scenario. So like I totally get it.
I felt good with the silvers. Like I was thinking maybe with the book being in Pendant Skull Woods that maybe Furaime would stay away from getting those silvers for a while, but not to be this case.
I was surprised that you guys resisted the temptation to go into desert at some point, but I guess for you with late flute, it was never really on the table.
It was starting to get on that table thanks to that book, and I was thinking about it after checking the Bombos tablet, but it was like, no, I have pendant stuff I gotta check. I've got my already game plan settled for this, and as a result, hey, I'm gonna go over towards the pyramid. I'm gonna go check Catfish. Oh, hi there, Bo. I guess I'm going to Palace of Darkness and Eastern next. Let's go ahead and beat some more dungeons.
Well, and your checks after after Ice Palace, like going into Swamp and then doing left side Swamp and then going into OJ Bomb, like all that made just a ton of sense. It just was not where Flute was, unfortunately.
Yeah, going into like left side Swamp, doing the Pyramid Bomb, as well as going into Hyrule Castle at that point in time. I know that's part of the massive difference by not having the Flute, because I'm going to assume, Hookshot was Furaime's official goal mode?
That's correct.
Yes.
Getting the Fire Rod was supplemental at that point, because you don't necessarily need that to be, unless the big key turns out to be on the right-hand side, and there's bomb jumps you can do, and I know Furaime could pull that off as well.
I was getting hyped for it. I was like, oh man, what if Rick has Fire Rod and it's right side? We got to watch Frame try to do that awful room with bomb jump strats, but then the Fire Rod came up and ruined all of our fun.
Yeah. And real briefly, that was in the back of my mind that it was going to be on the pedestal once I got that Fire Rod, so that's what my game plan was. I'm going to go into King's Tomb first, and if it's not there, we're going to go check to see what the pedestal is, and if it says release the Duct of Freedom, I'm like, oh god. But at least at that point, I'd be in go mode. But yeah, GG's to Furaime. Congratulations on the win. It's time for us to try to steal game number 2, though.
Yeah, you guys.
Come on, Fred, you got it. Get us a win on the board.
Head to head, I'm looking forward to the next match here. It should be pretty hype.
Yeah, I was going to ask if you had any potential words of encouragement for your teammate.
Fred knows what he needs to do in this. I have confidence in Fred that he'll put on a good show. This is one of those cases where hopefully luck is on his side, and that way we can at least come away with this week with a even record after having to put up with the Pug Tree on week 1. Yeah,
there are no free divisions in the league this year. That's for sure.
That's for certain.
Tons of good matches. Everyone has been a treat to watch. So.
Absolutely. Like I said, congratulations, Furaime. You earned this win. GG's to you.
Definitely. Well, thanks again for putting on a great show and coming here and talk with us, Rick. Really appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me, and thank you for the commentary.
Yeah, definitely. And to everyone else, don't go anywhere. As previously mentioned, we've got the grudge match rematch between Bomb Squad and Komodo Hypers. We got Fred Coughlin and Kyong facing up. So I don't know exactly when it's going to start, but it's going to start pretty quickly after this. So don't go anywhere. It's going to be intense action.
Yeah, certainly, at least for this race, though. Thank you again so much, Blady, for being our awesome tracker, keeping all the, clicking all the buttons behind the scenes and keeping all of our trackers super up to date. I look at it very often before I even start talking.
I never learned how to read, Clear Mouse.
Of course, Files, thank you so much for being my co-commentator tonight. Always a blast to have you in the booth with me.
Definitely. It was a pleasure. So, but again, everyone, don't go too far because there's more randomizer action coming up. So make sure, if you haven't already, make sure you're following SpeedGaming's network of channels and check out the league page for more information.
Yeah, and of course, can't forget our awesome runners here, Rick and Furaime. Thank you so much for putting up such a great show. And of course, Files, as you said, we have Fred versus Kyong coming up in probably like 10 to 15, 20 minutes, something like that. Yeah, so certainly don't go anywhere. But until then, have a great rest of the night.
Yeah, definitely. It should be a real hype match. So stick around, guys, and have a good night.